Hello and welcome to the Action Coach Business Spotlight. I'm John Boggis, and with my wife, Lorna McAteer, we run Action Coach Cambridge, helping business owners right across the Cambridge region. And with me today, I'm delighted to say I have Ed Williams. Ed is the founder and director of Elite Swimming Academy. Hello, Ed.
Hello, John.
Great stuff. Ed, thank you very much for joining us. Just to kick things off, would you give us a bit of background on your business, please?
Absolutely. Well, it is a private children's swim school, started and still located in Cambridge. We work from about 17 swimming pools throughout the county and further afield over into Suffolk as well. And it's been going about 15 years. And we teach children from as young as 2 years old right through to county international champions even. And the ethos is all private, high-end tuition.
Wow. And where do you find your swimming pools, Ed?
Well, a lot of them we've actually grown organically through the years. So hotels, spas, and then a few years ago, we started actually renovating and building our own swimming pools. So teaching about 1,500 children every week in private tuition. You can imagine you need quite a lot of swimming pools and manpower to run that. So what we've started doing is actually taking over barns, derelict swimming pools. We will pay to turn them into brand new facilities and close them, and that enables us to expand the business, and it enables the owners to create an income as well as the local community to benefit.
Wow. And when you were growing up, was swimming always your main focus? Is that what you wanted to do for a job?
It was actually quite accidental falling into this career. So I was always a swimmer myself, county swimmer. I used to be captain of St Neots Swans many years ago, swam for City of Cambridge Swim Club. And then when I was 19, I decided to stop racing and go into extreme distance swimming. So I became one of the youngest people to swim the English Channel. And that took me 14 hours when I was 19 years old. And I was at university at the time, got so behind on all my work because I spent my whole time swimming. It was either a case of catch up on your work or don't. So I chose not to, qualified as a swimming teacher, and very quickly realized there was a gap in the market for high-end tuition from teachers and coaches who had maybe done something special that could inspire the children. And that's where Elite Swimming Academy began, with me doing a few private lessons. We now have about 30 teachers teaching, well, a lot of children.
Wow, fantastic. And since you started the business, what would you say has been the biggest issue that you've had to overcome?
I think scaling the business without losing quality. So there was a time when it was just me running things, where it became so stressful having so many customers a week and teams to manage, and getting out of that mindset of no one can do it better than me. That was very, very difficult. And putting a management team in place, thinking, they won't be able to do it as well as I did it. Actually, completely the opposite. They do it probably better than I did it. And that enables me to focus on higher value tasks. So that was a huge obstacle to overcome, but one, as soon as you've got it in your mind and it's clicked, it's game changing.
It's for every business that we take through the growth, it's a process we have to go through with every business owner, from a business that surrounds them, to them actually running the business as the
Absolutely
executive, and having a management team that they trust.
Well, I remember the days where I used to work 7 days a week and it was just draining. My children still are young. They're aged between 3 and 10. But when my 10-year-old was born, I was so heavily involved in the day-to-day running. I just wasn't there enough. And I thought, no, I'm not doing that. And that's when I started putting steps in place to not take a back seat in the company. I'm still very much after the growth and the development, but less working in the business, as you would say.
Yeah, fantastic. And what would you say have been your biggest learnings in business, but also in life, Ed?
Okay. I relate a lot of these kind of stories to my channel swimming adventures. So in 2014, I tried to swim between Ireland and Scotland. I tried to, and only a few people have ever done that in the world. It's got about a 10% mortality rate, and it's kind of the one you have a go at doing after the English Channel. So there was about 30 people that had done it. I was in the water. I trained hard for a year. Wonderful PR, by the way, as well. Channel swims, as well as raising a lot of money for charity, and all was going incredibly well. 8 hours in, and I probably could have had the world record. I was ahead of it, and then just took on hundreds and hundreds of stings from a variety of jellyfish called line main jellyfish. Because you can't wear a wetsuit in any channel swim, it's all done in speedos. And I started going into respiratory failure. And after putting in all of this hard work and effort, it all started falling apart. And I had to get out and call it a day. And that was very humbling, because that was the first big swim I'd ever failed at. It was the first big failure in the swimming world for me. I felt incredibly down, very low for a month or so. And then 2016, went back, had another go, and completed it. So I was, I think, number 34 to have swum between between Ireland and Scotland. Took me 11 hours, and to have completed it after failing one time just made it that extra bit special. So I think the biggest learning for me has been, if you fail at something, have another go, and you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish.
Yeah. And how far is the swim between Ireland and Scotland, Ed?
About 22 miles.
Wow.
About 22 miles, same as the English Channel. So, but I mean, that's my passion. That's the hobby that started the company, to be honest, Elite Swimming Academy. So I still do the odd bit of channel swimming even to this day.
Fantastic. Who would you say would be the first person that would come to mind when you think about success, and why would that be?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. There's so many people that I follow and aspire to. Certainly on social media, in terms of LinkedIn, there's some wonderful personalities I follow. It's very difficult to put a name on it, to be honest, because I take certain learnings from everybody. But I think you can learn something from anybody who's been successful in business, and you just got to find your own way. So for me, I just try and do a little bit of what everyone does well, and try and put my own personal spin on it to make it that little bit better.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a fantastic way of doing it. And what does the future look like for Elite Swimming Academy? And what do you see as kind of the main challenges that you're going to face going forward into the next phase?
The future for us, well, every time I think we've hit a ceiling, we surpass it. So at the minute, we're certainly in a wonderful place. COVID was devastating for the leisure industry. We shut down for about 18 months. We had to, and similar to yourself, my wife runs the company with me, so our income literally dried up overnight. So that was a huge challenge. We came out of COVID busier than when we went in, which was amazing. We thought we'd come out with less clients because everyone would be a little bit nervous about going back to swimming pools. Totally the opposite. Everyone was so sick of being inside that we were busier than ever. So the challenge at the moment is maintaining that level of growth that happened, and making sure we can scale it for the future. So always looking for new swimming pools, always developing new relationships, bringing on new staff and training them in our ways. There's a very specific formula for success, and scaling it without losing any of the quality. That's my number one priority.
Yeah. Fantastic. And Ed, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give to your 18-year-old self?
So my 18-year-old self, don't focus so much on what other people think, I'd imagine. I remember certainly in the early days, especially taking on staff at a very young age, I very much had this hang up. You're far too young to be employing people when you're 20 years old. I'm a bit older and wiser now, but certainly it was a big holdback. And also, don't try and do everything. There's things that that will stress me out massively in terms of the admin side of things, that someone else can do in 10 minutes what would take me a couple of hours to do. So focus on your strengths and don't care so much what people think.
it's an exercise again we go through with lots of our clients to work out how, as the owner of the business, what should they actually be focusing their time on.
Indeed.
And it can be a very big eye-opener for
Yeah.
people to see how much time they spend on tasks that actually they can get someone else quite easily to do and free themselves up.
Outsourcing works wonders in the early days, especially for things that, as you're starting to scale and there are things that you're not maybe as good at, there's always someone that can do it for a fee that you might be surprised at how reasonable it is, and the value of that can pay dividends.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we finish, Ed, is there anything else we should know about the Elite Swimming Academy? Anything you're working on? Anything that it would be good to share?
Well, we're building new swimming pools all the time. We tend to do about one a year. One of the things that was a game changer for us just after COVID was taking a outdoor swimming pool at Fawcett Primary School in Trumpington. It had been derelict for a good 5-6 years, so it was literally a duck pond when I went to see it. We paid to have it totally renovated, turned into a state-of-the-art indoor facility. So the school, the local community now have a base. We have a firm base to expand ourselves in, and it has worked so well. So I'm very much looking for more schools with outdoor swimming pools, maybe, that need a new lease of life and need an investor to go into. So that's what the future holds for us. It's more about investing into swimming pools and saving them for generations, because you'll read in the press they close at a rate of knots because they're so expensive to run. A bit of private investment will save them.
Yeah. That way enable a return on investment for the swimming.
Absolutely. It's mutually beneficial. Yeah. It's a good way for us to scale whilst giving back to the local community, and everyone wins. And that's the way I like to do business. Win-win.
Yeah, fantastic. And if people want to get in touch with you, Ed, find out more, if they've got a swimming pool that's in need of some TLC, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
The best way is to go onto our website, eliteswimmingacademy.co.uk, and fill out a contact form there. If you say "to my attention, Ed Williams," it will find its way to me.
Fantastic. Ed, thank you so much. That's been absolutely fascinating.
My pleasure.
A real pleasure to
Thank you for having me.
time with you.